asked myself this question: if I had to explain, like, to a 5-year-old what is going on this planet right now, but if I had to explain it to a 5-year-old in a way that would leave that child like empowered, how would I share it? So I wanted to read to you the beginning of my book. So it's called Behind the Veil: From Fear to Freedom. Dear one, if you are reading this, it's because you are one of the volunteers. Once upon no time, many angels were called to volunteer. They were sent to Earth on a special mission to spread love and light on planet Earth. Why? What was wrong with Earth? The angels asked. Well, you see, many centuries ago, there were beings from another planet that they were looking for a new planet to live on because their planet was not livable anymore. They were actually 6 races that came from one planet. And one of them, they were called the Anunnakis. They decided that they were going to colonize, take over planet Earth. When they landed on planet Earth, the first thing they did was crash our main GPS system, called our intuition, or our third eye. The next thing they did is they pretended that they were our creator, and they infiltrated the main religions of the time. And they destroyed things like the Library of Babylon, which contained many of the secrets about human potential, the power of the mind, the power of the third eye, the chakra system and how it works, and how our manifestation powers work here in the 3D. And then they went on to take control of our governments by overtaking different governments in different countries, creating wars, creating policies to oppress people, like mandating vaccines at birth, making school mandatory so that human beings can be successful in a system that produces sheep. People who don't think for themselves or question anything, and of course, that follow the rules. The next thing was to take over the money system. See, they founded something called the Federal Reserve, which is not a government entity, but it pretended to be. And then they controlled all the money in the world to make sure that the people of the earth could only accumulate a certain amount so they can stay oppressed. Next, they started polluting our water, our food, and our air so human beings can be sick, weak, and stupid. They added things like fluoride to all the drinking water on planet Earth, which is proven to calcify our third eye and to make people into sheeples. Like, it's what they gave people as they drove them to their mass genocide of Jewish people. That's a whole other story altogether. And then they took our most amazing medicine, the food of the earth, and they started creating genetically modified clones of our medicine without telling us that they were doing that, and without testing how it would affect our bodies. And we started seeing things like cancer and autism show up more and more and make people more and more sick. They also sprayed the skies with chemicals that made us sick, and they also lied about that too. They used very, very clever mind control techniques to brainwash human beings and to prepare them for what was coming, like grooming us little by little for artificial intelligence. They took over every media outlet, the music industry, the movie industry, and they started manipulating these channels to brainwash humans and make them even stupider and more disconnected to their source. Well, why did they do all that? Well, there were two things that these beings were after. One of them, of course, was planet Earth. The second thing is they are after a human being's DNA. See, a lot of these beings thrive on drinking human blood, especially blood from humans that have been traumatized. They call that adrenochrome because the adrenaline that runs through that blood apparently makes that blood more powerful. They also created things like pandemics every few centuries right after they would set up a new technology. And they would spread viruses like SARS, AIDS, HPV, HIV, and of course the famous COVID-19, spreading more disease, more fear amongst humans of the world. And then the volunteers started appearing. Oh my God, people like Jennifer Flynn came out and started to awaken human beings to the reality of that we've been living in. Hundreds of medical doctors started coming out, posting videos, sharing with the people so that the people of the earth would start to awaken. Courageous women like Liz Cortland, a reporter, created a video exposing what was called Pizzagate at the time, a program that would kidnap little kids and do really bad things to them. More and more volunteers started arriving on planet Earth, and they started remembering who they were and what they were here for. And we created together a world that works for everyone. Now I want to tell you, it got worse before it got better. Yeah, it took time for us to awaken the planet, and we didn't have to wake every single person up. See, the ones that were ready to wake up to the truth of who they were, those are the ones that got to move into the new realm, the new paradise that we were creating on Earth. What happened to the other ones? Well, the other ones stayed in this chaotic hell. And everything has its time. So everything transforms in time. But you, my dear, were one of the volunteers that came. And everything you do matters and makes a difference. So I'm looking for an illustrator that will illustrate this book. If you or somebody you know wants to partner with me, you guys, I am ready to put this out. I am ready to put it out in a form of a book or in the form of a animation, a cartoon, so that we can start sharing this particular narrative and this particular outcome of this narrative, which I think is so important beyond making people aware, is to agree on the reality that we are now creating. See, the reality that we're creating is a reality of a world that works for everyone, where children are free and safe and human beings are taking care of one another and we're taking care of the earth together. That's the outcome we're creating. And that's what we want to focus our energy on. Until next time, beautiful people of the earth, blessings.